So who will start introducing?
Well, I don't mind introducing myself. I'm Liran Peretz from Alti. Basically, spent the last 20 years in the Caribbean, but originally from Israel, as you could hear from the accent. What we realized in Alti, and I think now with GPT, everybody are realizing, is a lot of the functionality we do with mobile apps and different applications, even on the PC, can basically be reduced and be usable on the chat. We were very specifically focusing on the crypto side, letting people first time in history basically exchange value and send tokens and coins to each other via WhatsApp, Telegram, and Discord. And basically making it more usable than the chat or chat groups that everybody knows by bringing more utilities. So the wallet was the first one, then some commands where people could inquire about pricing and information about different topics, and basically starting to help communities bring together utilities through the chat and grow the community and make it more engaged. And this is what we do in Alti. Now with the AI is being accelerated on a weekly pace, I would say. So this is about me.
Yeah, that's great. So if we talk about me, I'm a co-founder of Ingest AI project, and we run our project for almost 4 months already. We launched not so long time ago, and like for this time, I have more than 30K users, and we are actively growing and implementing AI technologies to some enterprises, to some businesses, and some businesses from crypto industry as well. So I don't know what to add. I think it would be much more interesting if we will ask questions and maybe start some discussions. So I'm experienced in AI for more than 3 years already. So I can advise something, I can answer some questions. I see what trends are on the market right now, and like for now, as for me, the main trend is open source LLM models. So you can make your own ChatGPT, host it on your own instances, and this is where the market is moving. So even OpenAI, I think, of course, they will have the marketplace and so on, but I think that open source technologies will raise very rapidly, and there is a lot of things that can be interesting, and for crypto industry and for NFT and for some other things. So thank you for your attention. I would be very glad to answer your questions, so to discuss everything.
I guess I'll intro myself. Hello, I'm Javier Calderon, Chief Technology Officer of MedEngine. Also, I'd say innovation as well. And we span across a variety of different solutions when it comes to building out the metaverse. We are both a game engine and also studio. We have about 850 games built on top of us. And then something I firmly believe across both blockchain and AI is that they have like unique intricacies across one another to where you can validate what you can actually do throughout both. Where blockchain can actually say like, okay, this person is this, because we've also noticed that there's deep fakes and also a lot of instances across that to where it's fairly unique of what AI has done, especially across my research. But I'll keep my intro short for now.
Great to see you and meet you. Let me introduce myself. My first name is Oleksiy, it's stated here. My surname is Kalmyko. I'm from Ukraine, and my main competences are in fields of either medicine, scientific research in field of medicine, in education again, in medicine, And even my entrepreneurship approaches, like a network of medical centers or anything else, are in medicine. And my philanthropy is also placed mostly in medicine. My present project of life is so-called network of medical clusters. It's like an implementation of decentralized autonomic organizations, but in real life, when we combine the activity, maybe the actions of medical businesses, hospitals, laboratories, diagnostic centers, rehabilitation centers, and even manufacturers of medical equipment, medical supplies, pharmaceuticals, and so on, together with non-private, like governmental, maybe municipal and others, and non-profit organizations, and of course, academic, scientific research and educational, all together with cooperation with information technology companies, with lawyers, with specialists in safety, and so on. And we are eager to conduct this as decentralized as possible and only communicate, cooperate, and take in mind the interests of the final consumer, of final beneficiary, by partnership with government and communities. But once again, we do all this for them, but without dependence from the government. And of course, collaborate widely with foreign and domestic national partners. I must say that the relation of my competencies with our panel topic, AI implementation, as for me is in the fact that I am in touch with the application of artificial intelligence in great variety of different fields in medicine, like in electronic health records and their processing, and tele-health and telemetry and so on, and like medical information systems, clinical decision support systems, analytics of non-structured information, and many, many other applications like education of medical personnel and usual people, and not only in software applications, but also in hardware. Like in wearables, you may see that even now I use some wearable devices which are connected with software, artificial intelligence driven again. And I hope my competencies might be useful in our today's discussion. Thank you. Guru Prasad, maybe you'll introduce yourself, right?
Yeah, perfect. So my name is Guru Prasad. I'm the co-founder and CEO of bcube.ai. We empower crypto traders by providing them an institutional-grade AI-driven platform. So my background has been in hedge funds. I'm an ex-Morgan Stanley. I had a company which was also into automating the trades using AI technology for stock markets. I had a successful exit from this company. And yes, like I'm here now.
Okay, guys, so if you don't mind, let me start the discussion from the point of view of how do you think how customer beneficiary centered is the technology of artificial intelligence in general, or maybe in applications of your competence? Because from my experience, medicine is patient-centered or human-centered by definition, right? What's about your experience in this field?
I can talk about first who is the customer, because there are a few layers here, and we're trying to keep the discussion in the arenas of the blockchain and the AI, where those two are basically meeting each other. So there is the layer of the hardware itself, maybe, and not maybe, for sure, and you can see projects already popping up where you want to decentralize the GPUs and the CPUs, all those graphic cards. Somebody has to make them work somewhere. And now with the Web3 approach, it doesn't have to be the big corporations. It can be basically anybody. So this arena is very interesting, and it presents different type of customers on that side for those type of solutions. And this is the hardware side. From the knowledge side, from the data side, of course, and the whole AI business is based on data. So on my perspective, for example, it's the community, how you collect data from the community, and not doing it like Facebook, where you utilize the data just for running ads, because this is a model that, it's old and not interesting anymore. But how you give back the ability for the community, and probably individual as well, to use the data for their own benefits, and even monetize on this data. And that's another big Web3 approach. I think Janvier talked about the interesting research in another arena. So all those layers are interesting. I would love to hear what you do. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing the name good, Janvier, about your research and, another perspective of those layers.
Oh, me? Javier? Yes.
Javier, sorry.
So,
yeah.
No worries. Just making sure I got okay. So I've been conducting a variety of different research to see how actually AI can be implemented on top of the blockchain, or vice versa, to where you can actually validate who's who and what's actually going on within the blockchain as a whole. Because even now, utilizing AI can actually help within a lot of methodologies of what we're doing, even within anything within the metaverse, across, say, like even doing video graphic content creation, and even just, say, for example, even transactions, game interactions, and communication to one another. From what I've already noticed with, like, say, deep fakes, I've seen it to where it's like you can actually transition somebody's face in real time to be somebody else. If I was actually a little more prepared, I could actually do something to where I could actually convert myself using ControlNet, combine with Sample Fusion to turn myself actively into a different kind of, like, say, anime, monster, Pokemon, whatever you want to be, all while we're still talking. So in those kind of instances across AI, I would say there's so many unique methods to go across it. Even, say, a few weeks, actually not even a few weeks ago, a few days ago, I've been testing out 11 labs for their AI across the voice replication and how that actually works. And it's kind of scary to really think about, because their software basically copies your voice within 30 seconds of you speaking. It already has an exact replica of your voice, and they can just go on and further learn across it. And then using that across, say, like a conversational AI, as the more and more it engages with you, is the smarter and smarter it gets, and how it actually operates within that. Say, for example, like an NPC can actually act and behave as you. How can we have something like that to where it's properly secured and validated across all points, to where it knows who you are when you're actually that specific entity? Because now with AI, I can make a deep fake of anybody on this call, copy all their voices, copy all their faces, and have a deep fake speak as you, act as you, and everything. Using blockchain as that overlying layer to validate each one of us. So this way you can say, yes, that was me. I was speaking there. That was, you can see on my wallet address, or you can say ENS domain address to say that it is me, or that is you, and so on and so on. So I do think blockchain is going to play a major pivotal role across AI as well.
That's very interesting. Identity, probably most urgent type of utility people will start consume.
Yes, I've seen also, like, different methodologies using, say, LangChain as a whole to wrap multiple LLMs, like, say, Cohere, OpenAI, Hugging Faces, what's it called, Anthropic, and Assembly, where you can actually test different contextual models to see what you can actually get for the information. And it's fairly crazy because different, I'd say, I'll use the term loosely, AIs can provide different types of information of what you're actually looking for. I see Madden just wrote a comment saying that's why Sam Altman launched WorldCoin to verify you're human. I have not yet looked at WorldCoin, but now that you bring it up, I'm about to do some research.
Yeah.
I can go next. Perfect. So let me tell you how we are using AI in Web3 world. So back in 2018, when we started as a research and development project, we had only two things in our mind. The first thing was like in trading, if you see like any strategy that you build will not work for a very long time. And in stock market, it might be working for a couple of months to an year, but in crypto, it gets absolutely obsolete. Any strategy that you build, like a couple of days or weeks or even months, because the markets are very volatile and you don't know what is the trend. So people speak about generative AI today in 2023, but we started this research and development in 2018 in partnership with University Paris-Saclay, regarded as number one in mathematics in the world. The lab, like we had very sophisticated servers and everything, and we started this research. So what we do right now is to provide an infrastructure where you don't need to exactly give the values of any trading parameters. Like you don't need to say that like if simple moving average goes down 30, like you go short, you if it goes above like 50, you go long. You're not specifying anything in particularly. Instead of specifying something in particular, you will give a range of values. And within this range of values, the AI will create like thousands of variations of these strategies. And it will try to see like based on pattern recognition in the recent times when the pattern has changed and what kind of strategy might work in this kind of pattern. And before, what people were doing was to build a single coin strategy, which means like building only long and short strategy only on Bitcoin or only on Ethereum. But our strategy, it doesn't work on only one coin. You can select up to 10 coins. So sometimes something can be long, sometimes something can be short. So it's risk adjusted. Then we were also thinking one thing that everybody have price and volumes data, right? So everybody has the same data from Binance, so that you cannot find any alpha, that there is no big edge you have. So we developed ourselves sentiment analysis engine based on data we get from Reddit, Twitter, and general media. So what we do is like we try to get this news and we try to check this news in the previous occurrences, how many times we got this news and how many times they were right. So if there is a particular influencer, like probably he has a big bag of a coin and he keeps shouting like that XYZ coin to the moon, 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 and like 100 times. And that doesn't mean anything. It can be a noise. It can be a pure noise. There is no alpha in that. But we'll try to take the accounts of those people. And that's why we are using reinforcement learning, like which keeps learning based on its own mistakes or its own predictive power, like based on the data that it gets. So it tries to see like how many times a person like speaks about a coin and how many times he was right in predicting that. So in this way, like we try to get our own sentiments based on these markets, and we combine this price and volume data with the sentiment data. So currently what we are working with is also with the blockchain data. So just to see like if blockchain data has any correlation with the price movements. Of course, like when something becomes a public domain, like a big exchange moving a lot of coins from one wallet to another one, maybe there is a panic, or maybe there is an XYZ exchange which starts to sell the coins that was added as liquidity by a project. So this can be another trigger. So everything cannot be taken into consideration, but we have a very unique way of identifying like whether it was a malicious act or whether it was a kind of attack on a particular coin or something like that one. So this is how like we are taking AI in our business, like just to create this generative AI for trading to make your best strategy. And second one is to get the alpha from exogenous data like sentiment analysis and also from the blockchain data.
Yeah, that's cool. Like as for our experience, we are working on democratizing access to AI technologies mostly, because as we see, there is a very big gap on the market between like normal people who don't aware about AI at all and between specialists in AI. So like there are instruments like LangChain and so on, but you need to be an engineer to use that. And the like niche what ingest AI is occupating is ability to make something like LangChain, but with interface of drag and drop, Control C, Control V, and so on. But even in these operations, users can struggle, and we understand that we need to fill this gap somehow because when like we are aware of AI and we know what is linear regression, what models are there, what models are open source, what not, what is on-premise deployment, and so on, how to build models and how to learn them with some personal data. But for users, everything what I said is only like a buzz, so they can't understand real value that they can get from AI. And I think that like we need to work on this issue a lot because this gap, as for my opinion, is becoming bigger because there is a lot of hype about AI, and some people are facing some issues, struggles, and they say like, no, AI is not for me, it's not for my business because it doesn't work. But the issue is in that they didn't implement it correctly. They didn't use some methodologies that help them not to face garbage in, garbage out issues and so on. So I think this is like an our responsibility also to make AI technologies more democratized for average person, and it can give a lot of new ideas and usage, of course.
That's very nice. You're working on different projects, like for you're outsourcing your services, or it's a product you are building?
It's our product Ingest AI. So like when we ran it, it was like ability to give your documents to OpenAI and to make like a chat experience with OpenAI based on documents and so on. But for now, it's more about apps. It's more about chaining apps. So, for example, I'm an HR manager and I have a number of 10,000 different CVs, and I need to get all web developers, but I don't have exceptional web developer. I have Laravel developers, Node.js developers, and so on, but they are web developers. So I need to use like vector search, AI search, and if I'm not aware of AI technologies, I can't find solution. Just I need to make tens of searches for every specialty and so on. But when with help of our instrument, you can use AI search and you can put, for example, web developer in the search field, and you will get web developers on the first page, and you will get Laravel developers on the second page, and JavaScript developers on the third page, and so on. So it will be like a number of relevant candidates that I don't need to search, and I have a lot of cost killing because of time economy. So I can get results faster, and we are specializing on the instrument for people that can just put the blocks and connect them into one flow and just make queries to this flow. So this is our vision, and now we are on first steps following this way, but I think that it can be great because our main point is to democratize access to AI technologies.
Very nice.
Super. So if you don't mind, let me share with my experience of using of artificial intelligence in different fields of medicine. Once again, let me remind that I'm not technician, I'm not engineer, I'm not a specialist even in information technologies. I'm a medical doctor, researcher, and educator probably. And what I really do for any health tech project, especially in artificial intelligence, is making an ecosystem of all needed non-technical specialists. What exactly? For example, in field of electronic health records. Previously, before the era of artificial intelligence, and I'm speaking now not about present hype of it, but about 10 and more years ago, we had to carefully structure all the information about the user, about the customer, about the patient, about the person, in order to collect, analyze, and synthesize something special, to develop the new technologies of diagnosis, treatment, prophylaxis, rehabilitation, etc. Later, as soon as more and more advanced models of and systems of artificial intelligence has been developing, we have got as doctors, have got the opportunity to collect less structured or even non-structured information at all, and develop the analysis and future synthesis of new approaches basing on this. And electronic health records nowadays, with the help of artificial intelligence, are much more user-centered in three different dimensions. For one hand, to end user. Now patient is not obliged to carefully fill all the information about himself in certain fields of the form. It's enough if he will just dictate. And recognition of everything is, again, rather often AI-driven. Then, second dimension or other members of this system are stakeholders. There are medical doctors and medical personnel in general. There are businesses or maybe non-private medical hospitals and so on, which get the opportunity to collect all these, to systematize and operate continuously. The third member of this system is probably a regulator, I must say. It may be governmental or non-governmental, but anyway, it could be even centered or not centered. But again, due to this approach, all this becomes much more user-friendly. And we can even formulate the request to these electronic health record systems in some make these prompts in some informal way, or less, okay, it's formal, it's still formal, but less formal way. It's a great acquisition what we have got with the era of artificial intelligence. The next aspect we also widely use artificial intelligence in is telemedicine, telehealth, when the most basic information about the patient, distantly, remotely monitored, is analyzed automatically by neural networks, artificial neural networks, and this significantly improves the quality of healthcare. And again, this is user-friendly from all these three sides, or even more. The medical information systems previously have been serving as a usual database, then as a maybe a ERP system, some kind of a medium by which you may manage the medical institution, the medical organization. Nowadays, I'm in touch with several projects in which, for example, just imagine the stomatologist, dentist simply puts the intraoral camera into oral cavity of the person, healthy or patient, operate by the certain protocol, and most of things in diagnosis and preliminary, of course, diagnosis, and making a list of reasonable additional investigations and even some ideas about treatment is delivered by this medical information system driven by artificial intelligence. Just imagine how it's much more, first, useful, convenient, scalable, because by this way, my customers, the owners of medical business or managers of medical organizations, may hire much more and quickly, not so experienced even personnel, because the protocols are much more simpler. I must even say that maybe we'll get some times when the role of non-operative, we name it conservative, right? Approaches in medicine, predictive approaches, will be conducted totally or mostly by artificial intelligence instead of medical personnel in general and medical doctor. And here are the clinical decision support systems. The first decision support systems I have been using in maybe 90s was just a set of books. Later, I have developed some kind of hypertext, maybe instructions, maybe some conspects, and so later some more advanced databases were developed with advanced, again, search engines. But when we have introduced, and we are still developing artificial intelligence in this, and we are modeling many, if not most, of biological processes in the body with the appropriate prediction of further development of pathologies or resistance to it, predicting the effect of our therapeutic approaches, treatments with pharmaceuticals or non-pharmaceutical ways. When now I'm just typing, or not even, sometimes I even do not need to type, I simply dictate describe the clinical case, or partly I upload, or it is automatically uploaded from the devices to the artificial intelligence system, and it automatically proposes the medical doctor most reasonable ways of, again, diagnosis, treatment, prophylaxis, rehabilitation, etc. I must say that even in my research activities and duties even, I widely use artificial intelligence to summarize a very diverse information, scientific information, evidence-based information from different sources in a quick and convenient way, for one hand, and later when I need to deliver this information to my colleague, I use artificial intelligence systems to make it, for example, in the academic writing style. When the same information I need to deliver to usual people, I also ask these systems to rework, to change the manner, the style, to make it more understandable for final user. Same for manager, same for insurance company, same for many other applications. I can continue because I have dozens of different applications with analytics, with few words about engagement systems. As soon as we have introduced and developing artificial intelligence in cooperation between medical stakeholder, medical personnel, final user, the engagement of all of us starts to become more and more improved. And it is much more interesting for medical students, for example, in education, to see a set of visual information, infographics generated by AI from text prompts or else how, than to simply ridiculously read just text as we did before. Billing and coding, we have already mentioned this several times in previous panels, and even today, undoubtedly, artificial intelligence is applied here and in medical application as well. I already have explained how careful, how quick and convenient way is to monitor and track health of final user through the or maybe in the framework of artificial intelligence as well. And even in communication, even today, while I have been taking part in our today's event, many of my partners and customers and other people have been communicating with me, and I simply used the recognition of their speech if they sent me the audio message or even videos and so on. I ask AI to summarize what they represent in their applications or maybe documents and so on. And it is, again, user-centered. Now I feel myself as a user. And I have plenty, dozens of other examples in field of hardware application of AI in medicine. If you wish, I could share this experience as well, but I'd like you to share your own as well. Thank you. Or should I continue?
No, it's interesting. Just where do you use blockchain in all those different products?
Okay. Let me introduce the medical applications. You see, in medicine, blockchain as a technology has multiple limitations. First of all, because medical data is historically, traditionally managed by corporations. It is managed by some centralized technologies, and it's from point of view of legislative principles and even technological operation with medical data should comply multiple standards. And blockchain by itself, at the moment at least, different exact technologies of blockchain are not stated as advised in field of medicine. It is a significant limitation, sometimes because of the nature of blockchain, sometimes because of legislation. But from other point of view, and it is positive from, as I think, I have seen dozens, again, many ERPs, medical information systems engaged in electronic health records management as a prototypes in states of maybe MVP or even previous stages. So the technology, as for me, is close to be ready to be widely introduced in the field of healthcare and medicine and even wellness, wider spectrum, while we have to pass some process of its legislative improvement, as for me. What's about your fields?
For us, as I said, it's bringing utilities to the chat. So, for example, in the medical arena, it can be some personalized service, as you said, the remote med, for example. A lot of people will have to download a certain app and need to learn how to use it. The other solution, what we bring, is a way where they can just open the WhatsApp, the Telegram, or any chat application, and just start to chat with the expert. Another field that Javier again explained before about identities, I think the social media and everybody using their own accounts can be a part of verifying who is it you're talking to. And even in the investment arena, where you have experts and those different strategies, this is something that I think communities and individuals really like. So I'm happy to hear any ideas and more about those use cases.
I must say that together with my present partners, and I'm looking forward to make partnership with other companies and specialists, experts in the field of artificial intelligence, blockchain, and in general Web3 and metaverse and so on. We conduct such a way of application of all these technologies that medical doctor or end user or maybe manager of some medical institution or regardless of who he is, does not have to learn anything special more. We are eager to make the interface, to make the way they start to use these technologies as easy, as convenient as it is possible. So if anyone is interested, you're welcome for our cooperation and make it much more, again, usable and user-centered and comfortable to get introduced.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested. And again, the chat is where we are playing our game. But maybe also Vladimir can tell us a little bit what's the fastest way or the easiest way for any business, because I think we have viewers interested to know, the general steps, the first steps any business maybe need to do in order to run their own model or use the existing open source models, what one has to do.
Yeah, I think as we facing issues with clients, we understand definitely that the main problem is a lot of garbage in clients' data. So there can be controversial data, there can be some duplicating data and so on. So I think 80 or maybe even more % of that what we are making with corporate clients, it's consulting upon their data structuring. And we also made an open source product called Embedder. It was released about a week ago because, for example, like there is a standard technology that your document is divided on chunks. These chunks are being embedded by any kind of models, and then you can make vector search based on these parts of the document. But people want to show their users beautiful content with HTML markup and so on, but they don't want something to be embedded, or they want to take only one part of this chunk and embed only one sentence, for example, to make AI search much more profitable. So I think the first step you should do is to structure your data, because everything will be the same. Like you can take Pinecone database, you can take Viviat, or you can take Chrome, or you can take anything. And as an instrument, you can take LangChain, you can take some other even open source models, not models, processors. You can also take like open source models like Vicuña or something like that, but everything will face with your data. And if it's unstructured, then it won't work correctly. Then users will receive not correct answers. They will struggle about it. And that's why for now, like we started with the idea of chatting with users' information, but we see that enterprises have much more demand just on AI search, because they say, for example, we have one big trucking company among our clients, and they say they made like the AI search based upon their roads for all the Europe and so on. And they say, for example, if a driver asks how can I get from Rome to Lyon, what's the best road? And if your AI model will understand information somehow and will give him a wrong answer, who will take responsibility about it? Like driver will show us answer of AI model and it told me to go this way. It's, for example, for 1,000 kilometers longer, but it told me to do it. So that's why companies want just to make AI search. So maybe the limit of using AI is only embeddings and operating with embeddings. So I think this is maybe a good way to start small and to try make some information more searchable among your organization. And for example, if I understood you have a social network, maybe it will be great to make AI search among people who are signed up there. For example, for now, it's in most projects there are only keyword search, and people can describe themselves in different ways. But if you make a vectorized representation of your data of users' forums, then they can find each other by this vector similarity. And I think, for example, for your business, it will be very great. And it's possible now to make without any cost. For example, you can take Redis vector storage, and you can take BERT. Google BERT is open source for embeddings, and it will work great. It will just cost for an instance, and that's all.
Very interesting. So the product you released, it's basically helping with structuring the data.
Now we are moving more in this side. We started from like using LLM models for business, making chat experience with your documentation. But for now, we see that we need to move more to the side of data structuring, helping users to automate data structuring somehow, because LLM models can be also used for classification data. For example, they can also define garbage and take it out from documents, and they can find controversial information in documents and so on. So it can be very useful. But as we see, that like this market issue is much more bigger than just chat experience and or like using ChatGPT for asking to write a text and so on, because it can write good, it can generate images, it can do a lot of stuff, but when we face in real issues, real enterprise issues, they are more about getting some data somehow and from very different various sources, structuring it and giving like comfortable answer to users to understand some information. So I think that No, as for us, we choose this way to focus on structuring user data and to make instruments that can help them to do it.
Very interesting. We'd love to talk more. We're
Yeah,
looking
we
to do a summary of the chat groups, so people won't have to be on all those channels all the time. So it sounds like a good fit.
And I've also been exploring like doc cloning. That is a new methodology to work and actually further engage in how I'd say the human interaction actually does really operate. And it's something fairly new that's just been recently released, to where it actually the AI actually acts and actually behaves similar to like human contextual behavior. It actually picks up on your actions, methodologies, and everything you're doing, which is, I think that's a little bit unique. Right now, I know it's being tested for any intervention, but it generically recreates like the thought process you have. So at that point, it's like, what can it do in terms of it acting and behaving as a human? I'm fairly excited to see what and where it will go in terms of actually building proper models and even just having that integrated into, say, like chatbots, search engines, and other processes, to where, say, even if you were to use it in a map and like Google Maps or Apple Maps, they'll identify where you're going and even give you specific feedbacks on maybe even faster routes or alternative routes, because there could have been a roadblock, closure, or something like that. Just some things I've been exploring.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think we have put contacts to the Telegram group. And I think we can be in contact, because it's very interesting to keep this contact to see what other people doing in the sphere of AI, because we have also a lot of clients from crypto industry and everybody doing different stuff. That's a very great experience to see how people facing some issues, how they're solving it, and that's really great.
Yes, guys, we'll definitely catch you on the Telegram group. I think it was a good experience and a first nice chat.
It was great meeting you all. We are always in trading field and normally hear AI from the trading side, but to hear from some other industry and some other different perspective is always very great to know what other innovations are happening in other parts of the world. So it was nice meeting you all, and I would love to connect with you all on LinkedIn and Telegram to discuss more about how probably if we can help some way, like from our AI expertise, and how you can help us in some way. Thanks.
Glad to meet you all, and I'm definitely haven't ensured that the most probable and proper way is to conduct the synergy of artificial and natural intelligence together. Not to lose our own natural intelligence, and everything will be okay and user-friendly. Keep healthy.
It was a pleasure, everybody, to just discuss everything across AI and just learning new methodologies of what could be done, especially how what everybody else within this whole panel has been discussing about what they're building, working on, and even just how they actually have their own perspective across AI and what they're building towards.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you a lot. It was very
Thanks,
interesting to talk to you, and